So this morning, as I was thinking about coming on live and sharing another one of my favorites, I got thinking, what were my biggest wow moments when I first got started using essential oils, and why? So one of my biggest wow moments was when I used a blend on my special needs daughter. And I was using it for about a month because some of you know my story. The very reason that I got started with essential oils was to help my special needs daughter. I was beside myself with what to do. We had tried medication. It made things 100 times worse. And I'm not going to get into a long and lengthy story. If you have more questions, you can ask me about it. But we were in a desperate time. And I didn't even know what essential oils were. But when someone said that they had been having success using them with their autistic daughter, I just jumped right in. I was ready to try anything, especially if it was natural and didn't have side effects. So I used a blend, not exactly this one, but similar to this one. This is called Genius, and it's one of the blends that comes in the kids line. And it is specially formulated for kids, although it works great for adults as well. The one that I used is very similar, but it was one that I ordered through the US because as members, we can order most of the products from the US as well for our own personal use, just not for resale. But anyway, the blend was similar to Genius. And so I started applying it to her brainstem and to her big toes every night because the big toe is the reflex point that coordinates with the brain. And the thing I had heard about essential oils that I really, really loved, especially for her, was that the molecules are tiny enough to cross the blood-brain barrier. So they don't just mask symptoms, they actually make a difference. They can actually make a change in the brain. Most things are not able to cross the blood-brain barrier because that barrier is there to protect us, to protect our brains from getting chemicals and synthetics into the brain. And that's why it's very, very important to use pure essential oils because you don't want those chemicals and whatnot getting into the brain. But anyway, so after about a month of using this on her, she was going to a day program. And one day when I picked her up, her worker said to me, "Oh, you wouldn't believe." She was coming up and initiating conversation, which was not very like her. And she was saying things to us. She said, I don't maybe have the words perfectly remembering it, but she said something like, "Would you please turn the music on?" And I'm thinking to myself, oh, you know, in my own head, I'm hearing it the way she would normally say it. And that is music on. So I said something to that effect to the worker. And she said, no, no, no. She used all those tiny little words and the whole sentence, all the little conjunctive words. She used them. And I was like, wow, I could not believe it. And this kept happening a few times a week. Workers would be, "Oh, I'm so amazed. She's doing so well. She's interacting." And she had been very, very withdrawn, very unwilling to especially initiate conversations. And often, even if you tried to talk to her, she would barely answer. So this was huge. And then, of course, you know, after a while, I kind of forgot about using it. I backed off a while. And I didn't see any progress. I didn't see any, you know, I wasn't getting those comments from her workers. And after a month or so, I started using it again. And again, I was getting the same kinds of comments coming back from her workers, how impressed they were at her problem solving, at her wanting to converse and wanting to be with her peers. So this was a huge wow moment for me. And yes, I was skeptical. I kept saying to myself, well, you know, maybe it's just a good coincidence. But after a while, there were just too many good coincidences. And yeah, this has been amazing for her. And even to this day, I'm still seeing progress. I'm still seeing her problem-solving skills improve, her interactive skills, her knowing when she needs space and asking for it. So yes, essential oils can cross the blood-brain barrier, and they can affect change cognitively in the brain. And they are amazing for that. So this is definitely one of my favorites, and one that I have in her arsenal all the time. And stay tuned for tomorrow's favorite.